I mean, the collaboration with Norman was always an amazing process of learning, his infinite curiosity is deeply stimulating. And I mean, there's so many dimensions to Norman Foster's work. It's almost like in superstring theory, in quantum physics, because he's not only one of the most important architects of our time, he's not only one of the most important urbanists of our time, he's the founder of a school, the founder of an institute. He is also an extraordinary, in a way, artist, because his drawings are really amazing artworks. Norman has, of course, also an activity as a curator. He curates shows regularly, not only his own shows, exhibitions on his practice, but also exhibitions like the exhibition on the automobile, which happened at the Guggenheim in Bilbao. He's, of course, also an environmentalist. He early on worked with Buckminster Fuller on these very important projects related to the ecosystem. So he's also a writer, an incredible writer. He's an editor. At this very moment in time, he's actually editing Domus magazine. That's just the top of the iceberg. There's so many dimensions, to the work of Norman. The first projects we did together with Norman Foster were these interviews. The first projects I did with Norman Foster were these interviews. I remember it was a long interview for System magazine. We recorded several hours, and basically he explained to me the office. From these early interviews, as a friendship developed with Elena Foster and Norman Foster, we started to see each other frequently. So basically, these conversations have often, addressed also my recurrent question about the unrealized projects. And so we decided about 3 or 4 years ago, together with Elena Foster, to do a book mainly focused on Norman's unrealized project. And that book is going to come out this year. It's basically me asking him about the many different, unrealized projects. And the range of the unrealized is, of course, very wide in his practice. There's not only lost competition entries, certain buildings he really wanted to build, but lost the competition. But there is also utopic project, dreams, unrealized cities, also projects outside architecture, So the foundation in Madrid is a truly amazing institution, because I think it's mainly an archive, foremost an archive, but not only an archive, which I think is very important, because it's, of course, the place, the core of the practice are really the notebooks. Norman has been keeping his notebooks since the very beginning, when he grew up in Manchester, when he was a very young, a pupil, even before he went to university. And you see already there, the drawings of buildings, the drawings of cities, the drawings of architecture. You see then the notebooks when he went to Yale, the beginnings with, Team 4, then the beginning of his own practice. All of that is reflected in these extraordinary notebooks, and they've all been digitized. It's this magical room where they are on shelves, and I spent hours there. You could actually spend months there, looking at, because there are literally, hundreds of them, and the drawing is in a way what holds his whole work together. All these dimensions I've been describing, the many dimensions of Norman Foster, they are somehow kept together through the practice of drawing. That's where it all is anchored in a way. But I think it's important that it's not only an archive, it's not only reflecting on the work, and I think the future can also be invented with fragments from the past. And so in a way, the archive is a toolbox, hopefully, to produce the future. And that's why it's so interesting that also the Norman Foster Foundation is also a school. I've just done a seminar there last week, and I spoke to the students. There is a group of students, always postgraduate students, who stay there for a year. It sort of brings together postgraduate students from art, from architecture, from urbanism, but also from many different fields. Some come from anthropology, some come from language studies, and they all somehow come together to reflect upon the future of the city. So yeah, I think it's a really great institution. It's an institution which not only looks back, but it looks back in order to look forward.